What is going on, guys? It's Adam, aka Marf, and today's show is going to be packed. We are back after a 9-day hiatus, and a whole lot happened, so stick around. We'll be right back right after this. What is going on, guys? It's Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Before we get started, just want to clarify that, of course, nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of myself, Dex, or anyone else on this show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. All right, with that out of the way, today's show is going to be absolutely packed. Of course, we have a ton of stuff that has happened in the last 9 days. But before we start, let's bring in my co-host / internet brother, Dex. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
I'm glad I checked the sound. I think that we're okay, but everybody, again, we had to discombobulate everything and update stuff, so please let us know if sound is okay in the chat, and then say hello and roll call where you're from. All right, let's get into it. Before we start again, just to make sure you know, everything we say here, we actually archive on our website. If we show you a picture, an article, a video, or a document, we are going to be putting a bibliography on our website for all of that information, so you know exactly where that's come from. If you go to It Will Happen, the next might be our last, again, you will see all of the links for every single story that we show here. That way you know exactly where your news is coming from. Again, lots of stuff here, and then down below there is, of course, the web-only content, stuff that is too hot for TV, essentially. And then on the right side, if you want to support or do a PayPal during the show and get a shout-out, you can do so, or support us through any of our many affiliates. All right, thank you guys. Again, thank you for coming back after this little break here. Again, thank you everybody that is already here. 1,000 people have already popped in. I really appreciate each and every one of you. We have so much to cover. I'll try to, once we get into some of the news, maybe in a while, I will talk about what we have discovered. First off, I do want to let you know, in just a little bit, I'll talk about the DoD employee that we spoke to. That is really crazy. If you did not, if you haven't followed me on Twitter, make sure to go over there and follow me. It is a definite, in his opinion. Not only he doesn't even feel it's his opinion. He is saying that they know within 2 years, inside the 2-year mark, that we will be at a war with China and with whoever else. Again, when I asked about Russia, they said they'll go with whoever they get a better play with, or whatever they'll get a better deal with. And then also talked about the bio stuff, and as far as that's what they're worried about, what they're drilling for, what they're moving equipment for. And I believe that I'll be able to prove that very soon. On top of that, I found out a couple facts about Cascadia Subduction Zone that are not known to the public yet. This is information that the military has known for at least a few months now and has not come out and said. We both Dex and I looked up the information as far as how high the wave will be. So we'll talk about that in a while here. But first, let's get through all of these strange asteroid sightings. So first off, if you haven't been looking up, of course, there's Perseoids, which is the shower right now, and it's one of the most prevalent showers that comes every year. But this is something that I've been talking about for years, as far as that these meteors coming in has gone up, and I believe there's proof for that. We have shown you that the actual sightings, and they're broken down into groups. So say one stat is 10 or under people that report it. There is 10 and over and under 100, over 100 and less than 1,000, and so on. They have the different sightings broken up into that, and they group them by how many people have reported them. All of those have basically quadrupled. In fact, I think there was one fluke for 1 quarter, but other than that, everything has gone up. So we're having people see more. This is supposedly something that's, these showers happen every year, or some of them are annual, some of them are, every dozen years, or whatever it is. But this is something that is provable by how many people are reporting. So we have asteroids coming in like crazy. They're actually coming in and breaking up in front of people, and those reports are going up. Why? That is my question, and it still has not been answered. We have just an incredible amount of stuff going on. It says large meteor wows Norway after blazing through the night sky. Norway, actually, we have Norwegian family there, and they said it was unbelievably beautiful. Norwegians have been left awestruck by what experts say was an unusually large meteor that illuminated the night sky in the country's southeast. Footage shows powerful flashes of light over the Norway, followed by what witnesses described as loud bangs on Sunday. Norwegian police say that they've received a flurry of emergency calls, but there were no reports of injuries or damage. So I want to keep in mind that we've had all these mystery booms across the United States, and none of them have really been explained. Some people think that it's underground, that, of course, they're doing some sort of, underground secret explosions, or it's sonic booms from jets. But again, this is something that just keeps happening, and if nobody's looking up, then maybe it's an asteroid. Maybe it's a meteor coming into our atmosphere, and actually, that's the sonic boom. That's what it's from. It says a meteor is a space rock that has burned up after entering Earth's atmosphere at high speed. The Norwegian Meteor Network says Sunday's fireball was visible for at least 5 seconds after it appeared at about 1 o'clock local time. Traveling at about 16.3 kilometers per second, nearly 36,000 miles per hour, the meteor could be seen over large parts of southern Scandinavia, the network says. So again, huge one, and it says not a UFO, meteorite reported shooting across North Texas sky. This is a different one. This is again, we're gonna show you. This is multiple. It says meteor reported shooting across North Texas sky Sunday evening. Again, exploding over the area as it hurtled toward Earth. Then we have fireball spotted over New England Friday. This is, by the way, we're about to cover 6 in just a week. So Perseoids or not, these are coming into our atmosphere. It says Maine, a fireball lit up over the night sky in New England Friday. It occurred about 11:15 p.m., spotted moving from southeast to northwest. The American Meteor Society received at least 85 reports of the sightings. So that's a good example. 85 people saw it, so they're going to bunch it from 50 to 100 people. All of those sightings have gone up. In fact, we looked at it just in the last 4 years, have quadrupled. Why have they quadrupled? I saw a comment that says, well, now more people have cell phones. People have had cell phones for 10 years. People have had cell phones with good high megapixel cameras for 10 years. So it's not just that more people are looking up. It's that there are more. And then we have, of course, footage shows meteor turning the sky a brilliant green. Do you guys see the pattern? This is almost every day now. It says a video caught from the moment the skies lit up a bright green, a meteor crashed to Earth. You can check it out here. Again, this is all linked on our website. A Twitter user in the city of Izmir in Turkey shared the incredible footage, which appeared to show the sky lighting up a brilliant green before the object hurtled towards the ground. The videos have sparked speculation surrounding just what the object could be, with some suggesting it's a satellite or some intergalactic junk, and others choosing to believe it could be aliens. Dex, what do you think? Do you think that these are meteors or ETs?
Well, at this point, I'm going to call them unidentified and lump them in with everything else that they like to label unidentified. But I know you're going to show another one, a 6th one, but I did go ahead and pull that chart if you want to show it.
We haven't even gotten to number 5. Look at this. So bolide meteor exploded over Penang Island on the 21st of July, says Astronomical Society. It says members of Astronomical Society of Penang living in Balek Palau, Tunuk Bajung, and Tula Kumbar reported seeing a bright flash of light and hearing a loud boom. Other netizens living in other parts of Penang Island, such as Batu Feringhi and Palik Palau, reported hearing the noise, as well as the dogs were barking non-stop, disturbed by the explosions. Most people otherwise assumed it was a thunder strike instead, while some originally speculated it to be military drills. So that's pretty incredible. This is just in our short hiatus. Again, most of it in 6 days. It says the day the space station lurched. So we'll talk about that here in a second. Now, Dex, you said you have...
Okay, grab that chart. It's in Screener.
Okay, perfect. So this is what we're talking about. We're going to show you exactly what we've been referencing here. Let's see. Okay, so Dex, do you want to explain this? And this is exactly what we're talking about. I'm assuming somebody in chat said, what are you talking about?
Yeah, this is the fireball reports, as they refer to them here. And they're basically grouped by the number of reports. So like the green is 10 people to 25 people reporting an incident, the same incident. The orange would be a greater number. It'd be 25 to 50. And the purple, which is the lower stack there, is going to be anywhere from 50 to 100 people. And then the very bottom of the stack is the red, which is 100 reports or more of the same incident. But the point is, these are year over year. You can just look at this climbing each year. This is what we're talking about. Now, certainly,
why?
You can go back in 2006, 2010, and just say, yeah, they weren't reporting a lot because people weren't reporting. But, you know, as you get past, say, 2014, even 2015, it's still growing. And we're already at 204 this year, probably well on track to beat, at least meet, if not beat last year's report.
And they say it could be delayed up to a week, so this could be at 210 right now. Mind you, last year was at 386 total. We are in July, and we could definitely beat that this year. 327. It goes from 2013, 172, 194, 243, 256, 280, 287, 327, and then 386. And we are already at 204 this year. So this is what we're mentioning, and obviously there's something here. I mean,
and in the legend there on the left of the screen, the legend, 2 of the options are grayed out. If you click them, they'll turn them on. That would be 1 to 10 and 1 only. But I think even adding 1 to 10 is kind of interesting to toggle that one on and off and see how it looks. It obviously squishes everything else out.
Yeah, and you can see there's, in fact, this changes the number broad. So you can see how they take it more seriously when there's more people, but look at the number difference. We're already at 4,130, of course, with the number of reports of under 10 people. So last year was 8,231. That was up from the previous year at 6,000. That was up from the previous year at 5,000. Again, it was at 4,245. And then, of course, in 2012, we were all the way down at 2,179. So it just keeps going up. Any way you look at it, it's gone up. So we're seeing more and more and more. Most people don't care. Oh, what if this is all space junk? What if this is actually Space Force? Or what if this is something else coming down? Which, speaking of, some really weird stuff happened. You probably heard about this. I would hope that most people are paying attention to what they're at least putting out. Again, it says that the International Space Station was drifting, the station always moving, of course, in a looping trajectory around Earth. But this, what Mission Control was seeing in the latest data, was unexpected and unnerving. On Thursday morning, the space station was suddenly and mysteriously deviating from its course. The massive pieces of NASA-built hardware that hold the space station in place couldn't keep up with the motion, and within minutes, the station had been thrown off its usual orientation. NASA quickly turned to Roscosmos, Russia's space agency, to counter the shift. Moscow's Mission Control commanded one of its modules on the space station to ignite its engines, then instructed a cargo ship to fire its thrusters too. Inside the station, astronauts reconfigured important systems twice, and then ground control lost communications with the crew for several minutes. The longer the space station remained off track, the more scrambled its operations, including communication system or solar panels, could become. So the actual ISS supposedly was going off of track, and they had to use every rocket that they had to get it back on track. And they lost communications. This totally, Dex and I were talking about this before the show. This could turn into a George Clooney, Sandra Bullock movie. I mean, honestly, these 3 staff members were in there, and supposedly, and if they're in there and they go off track and then start hurtling towards going off their trajectory, they would be pulled back in. So this was pretty crazy. Something smells fishy about this. Dex, what do you think about it?
Well, the cause of it was a Russian module that had just gotten there. And the module had recently shown up or recently docked, and it had had a lot of faulty issues just getting into space and getting into the orbit and getting into the ability to dock with it. And they had all these problems. And apparently the problems continued because the reason it left its orbit was that rocket system that was on that module started firing randomly. That was the original problem. So there's, a lot of questions as to why that happened. Is it just, poor systems and gremlins or, I don't know, hacks or bad code or something? Or is it something else that's happening? Or is it just, sheer luck that actually happened by coincidence?
So here's a quote. It says, "There was no immediate danger at any time to the crew," but that's what they say, right? So, NASA, of course, is infamous for not answering a straight answer, or not a straight answer, or never a straight answer. Again, they have lied and been caught in those lies many times, as far as, because a lot of the things, of course, the other argument for that is that it's top secret or it's this or that. But again, they said there was no immediate danger at any time to the crew. I would say that going off course and going towards Earth, or hurtling around and having to use every single engine that they had to keep on track, I would say that would be dangerous. And they lost communication. If they lost communication at any point, that would be dangerous. It says, obviously, when you have a loss of attitude, I think altitude control.
Attitude is what they call it in space because of the 3 dimensions.
Oh, weird. So it is actually loss of attitude with 2 T's. Control, that's something you might want to address right away. But the crew was never in any immediate emergency or anything like that. That's the quote. Probably from, of course, it says the ISS program manager at NASA, Joel Montalbano. Probably used to, minimizing things. Thank you for 2,500 people showing up. Even though we've been gone for 9 days, you guys came through. Again, thank you so much. And I'm very blessed to have every one of you watch. And I'm just really, really appreciative of everybody. Let's see who's in the chat right now. We have Simulation 7. It's been a ton of time. Hey, nice to see you. Prepper Nerds, Sick and Tired. We've got Blowtorch Barbie in the house. We have Nana Deborah. Sorry for your loss, Deborah Lone Wolves. Again, I guess somebody lost somebody. I am so sorry to hear that. Nana Deborah, I'm praying for you and praying for whoever ended up passing on. Susan Lewis, we've got Robin Spiker, Meliza Bazan, The Viper, Frank Walls, and Rhea, Rhonda Clark, and Taurus Girl. Thank you, everybody that has popped in on both platforms, DLive and on YouTube. Just to make sure that I don't miss anybody as well. Thank you, everybody. Stephen McMahon, thanks for last show. Gone Girl 777, I hope you are doing well. And then let's pop open this. Sunlight Suckers says, get some great videos on BitChute if you want to stay informed. It's all lies. The truth is scary. Hope you are all ready. Sunlight Suckers, I do agree with you on that. And it is a great source of information. Silly Gurgle says, missed you, fam. Missed you too. And then Amber B. Subaru WRX says, I missed you. Actually, I missed you. And Dex, so much. And Joseph Newhouse, thank you for being the last one out last show. Thank you, everybody that has joined us. Well, we're on the subject of space. I think that everybody knows that watches the show regularly. Again, everybody should be paying attention to this. This is one of the biggest threats to our time. And many believe right now, including myself, that we are just waiting. If it's a when, not an if, an EMP will happen. If you do want to support us, we have an affiliate that is not only doing stuff for DoD, of course, the Department of Homeland Security, and the DEMSO team helping protect the Texas grid. They have a consumer side too that makes these Keystone military tested devices to actually protect your devices, your home, your car, your motorcycle, your RV, your solar system, or even your ham radio from an actual EMP. It can actually protect you against all 3 phases of an EMP, E1, E2, and E3. Again, if you want to go check out more, go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. It can also protect you against solar flares, the natural kind, again, which is we're overdue for, and lightning. Of course, if you've ever had your house struck, then you know exactly why you need it. Marfooglenews.com/EMP. Right now, there is $50 off per device when you use our link. All right. And then Dex, the I country TV report says an attack on a ship from was revenge for the raid. So there's actually been a ton of stuff that has happened in the Middle East. And notice how just a few weeks ago, everybody, even I saw creators that review electronics. I saw a review that was a Lego reviewer even making comments to donate towards one side or the other. They were saying, I've been watching the news and I just see all this horrible stuff going on, and they're seeing what is being pushed. But notice how the battle between two places just kind of faded out, and now they're moved on to other stuff. Dex, have you noticed that? It's like for 2 weeks they'll show you nothing but footage of horrible things, and then everybody's focused, and all of a sudden they care. It's still going on, but yet now.
Oh yeah,
all these same people, they don't care.
Yeah, they bring the narrative in and out when it's appropriate, right? That's what's so interesting. But this is going to continue. We've talked about this tit for tat. This is nothing new. We've reported many of the incidences between these two countries, and it's sort of amazing that they're not at an all-out, fisticuffs at this point, right? I mean, they keep going back and forth, and I'm just shocked that they're not, taking it to the next level as much as they're doing to each other.
Now, this was a ship. It says a TV network linked to has said that the attack on the ship off the coast of Oman was, quote, in response to a recent attack on Al Dabaa Airport in the Al Qasar region in Tsunami. Again, we say things differently here, or we don't say them at all. All right. Again, really, really crazy stuff. Of course, it's continued, but nobody really cares once it's beyond the pictures of course, civilians and all of that. Everybody, what I see, though, a lot of is I think that there are really good people that do care, but they only care when they see it, but they don't follow it, they don't track it. And then there's also the group of people that pretend they care, and they say something about it because they feel like everybody's talking about it, and they feel like they need to put their support in for one side or the other. And it's usually whatever side that all of their friends are in. There's a lot of followers out there, and again, there's very few leaders. I just did a tweet that said, followers basically will follow. The curious are the leaders, the people that keep asking questions. And that's what we need to all be. You don't need to listen to somebody like me or anyone else on YouTube or on the news or anything. You need to look for yourself, and you need to spend a lot of time or at least a little bit of time every day looking into this stuff. The more you look into things, the more you'll find out. Don't take some opinion from somebody else. Go see for yourself. You need to make sure that whoever's telling you can back it up with something of substance. That's the whole point of all of this. Josh Shepard, hey, whatever came of the Ruski sub disaster, after which became public, a funeral speaker said that the crew were heroes for, quote, saving the world. Not exact quote, but something to that effect. Thank you from Occupied Region 10. Region 10 is here. Actually, the real quote was, they were heroes because they helped avert a planetary catastrophe. That was what the word he used. Planetary catastrophe. So the 14 or 17 sailors, I believe, that passed away in that sub accident of a super secret sub, so secret that even they said our military doesn't know all the details about it. It was a research, not a weaponized sub, or at least they think it's not. That is what they said. So we don't know. Maybe they went down underwater. Maybe they blew something up so a plate wouldn't shift, or maybe they sealed up a crack that was gonna, put us off kilter. I don't know. I still don't know, and it still bugged me, and I don't forget. So Josh, great comment. Saw a fireball last night camping at Hoodoo Lake last night in central southern BC. Was bright and loud even through the hell thick smoke. So Canadian Freak, report that kind of stuff, and this goes to everybody here. If you see one, even if it's a smaller one that breaks up, report it to that website. The link is going to be on our website tonight, so put that in your put that in your saved websites. And then Sunlight Sucker, again, thank you for your comment there. Joseph McCorkle, thank you for subscribing. Gunpowder Productions, appreciate you as well. Thank you for popping in last time. And then over on D-Live, we have all sorts of great people. Michelle K, Carolina Roots, Rambler 56, of course, Miss Jackson. And thank you, Pez Player, for coming in with a Ninja Guinea. Same with Zippy Moons. And Brandon Henschel says, Foogle Withdrawals, great to have you back. Can't wait for the documentary. Thank you so much. Brandon, thanks for supporting again from creator to creator. I never catch you live. I want to support you back. Miss Jackson and Grego, Miss Meme, we've got all sorts of great people over there. Scooby-Doo Do-Right, Bear Claws, all sorts of great people. And then we have iCountry warns it will respond immediately and strongly to any provocation in wake of the tanker attack. So pretty strong words here. It says on Sunday, Is Media reported that Tel Aviv had received a, quote, green light from the U.S. and the U.K. to respond to the alleged eye attack on the Mercer Street oil tanker in the Gulf of Oman. Tehran forcefully denied any involvement and accused IS of influencing the U.S. position on the matter via a powerful lobby. Look at that. Dex, I can't believe they used that statement there. They actually said a Z lobby.
Yeah, exactly.
It says U.S. and
look at where it's coming from, too.
Yeah, no, and it says U.S. and British claims of an alleged trace in the recent attack on oil tanker Mercer Street, managed by IS billionaire Aya Ofer, are baseless and provocative, and Tehran will respond immediately and strongly to any provocations against interests of the iCountry. Foreign Ministry spokesman said Saeed Khattabzadeh. I think I horribly said that wrong, but that's fine. So again, these are tit for tats. A tit for tat is basically they do something, they go back and forth. Now it's getting pretty bad. I would say to anybody out there, I would look up this guy that owns the ship, billionaire Aya Ofer. I wonder what whose friends does he have? Smell a Fantastic Freddy, possibly. And then NK leader's sister warns Seoul against military drill with Washington. I mean, come on, people. Why is she speaking for the country? Dex, like, it's been his sister. He's not the one speaking. And everybody kept saying...
Always her.
Everybody kept saying that, oh, well, I saw a video of Kim and this and that. Something's happened. Kim is either dead or something happened or he's not healthy enough to rule. Even from Dennis Rodman, who's personal friends with Kim Jong-un, has gone there and partied with the guy who has been continually brought out there, the NBA player. He said before this whole thing last year where they questioned if he had if he passed away or if he had some sort of serious surgery or serious health complication, he said before any of that was known, he said, if you see the sister talking more and more in public, he said that there's something definitely wrong with that. He goes, I'm not allowed to say stuff on the family as far as, I personally know them. But that's exactly what he said. He said, if you see the sister talking more and more, then there's a big problem. It's clear as day. Something is going on with NK. Maybe they took him out. If she really is the ruler, or maybe they could be keeping him alive. Maybe they knew he was going to die. Maybe they did videos pre-hand and they can date it. I mean, how hard is it to date footage? Have we seen any footage that shows something in the background, like a TV that shows the date? Some people said that they saw videos, but how does that video prove what day and time it is? Does it have a timestamp at the bottom, like an old school video camera? I don't know. I don't believe it anymore. This is too much action from his sister. And if he was in full power, why would his sister, no offense, but why would she even be talking? In that culture, you obviously know what they think of the opposite sex. It just doesn't make logical sense. Seoul, Kim Yo-jong, the sister of NK leader, or is the new leader, said on Sunday that if South Korea carries out its planned joint military exercise with the United States, it will damage the resolve of the two Koreas to rebuild relations, state media KCNA reported. Kim Yo-jong also said in a recent decision to restore hotlines between the two Koreas should not be seen as anything more than reconnecting physical ties, that it would be thoughtless to assume that summits are around the corner. So they made a decision to actually have a phone between them. And it sounds like that was her decision. What the hell happened to Kim? Obviously, there are some really big things popping in the dark. All right, and then we, of course, have strange mark bandage spotted on Kim Jong-un's head by media. So it says the exact cause of the spot on Kim's head wasn't immediately clear, as it would be somewhat problematic to diagnose it based on images alone. Maybe they have kept him alive, and maybe they did a lobotomy or something. It says NK head of state Kim Jong-un was seen last week sporting a strange dark green spot or possible bruise in the back of his head. According to the media outlet, said spot was visible on Kim's head during a military event he attended from the 24th of July to 27th in July. Footage of War Veterans Conference and related events. So do we have a picture?
And Adam, if you see
tweet,
in that
right?
in that article, it indents and says pic.twitter.com. If you click that link, it'll take you right to the photo.
Dex, do you think that this could be a body double?
Well, I don't know. It's an interesting question. The pictures are good to look at, and take a look, and people can judge for themselves. I don't know if it's a double or if it's just questioning what's going on the back of his head. And, it wasn't there. It was there. There's a bandage there. It's even got date progressions. And you have to actually, if you go to the Twitter, you have to click on the pictures to expand them, because there's some that are hidden because it compressed them.
Yeah, and then look at his hairline is further. I guess that could be just the comb. How did these, I guess he's got the same little dents right there, but what is that? He didn't have it covered here, and then he's got a bandage on it here.
Well, what's interesting is on the 29th, though, his head is turned a little more to his left, so you would see more of it if it was there, which is the first picture on the left. And you don't see anything. And then now you see it. Now you see a bandage.
Look at that. Now there's... what the hell? Is that his power button? Is this some sort of... see if it shows this one. What? Is it a tattoo? What the hell? And then this is like purple. Is this Weekend at Bernie's or something? Like, did somebody club him over the back of the head and you can't see it, but there's two...
Maybe he's tapped into Elon Musk's new company.
Right? Maybe they used him as an emergency case for the chip. I don't know. That is weird. It's not a birthmark because it wasn't there before. Here's another one. These are all supposedly from July and June. Yeah, that's weird. Also, they have, they have cars and things. They can't find a good barber. And he's supposedly a god who doesn't even use the bathroom.
Would you want to be his barber if you're a good barber?
No. Are you kidding? You nick an ear and you're gone.
Probably no good barbers left.
Yeah. Good point. On another point, if you do want to support us in a different way, make sure to go check over at Nord. NordVPN is doing a sale right now. You can get upwards of 70% off if you use our link. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. If you don't have a virtual private network, you should, because it can protect you from all sorts of cybercrime. In fact, there are now more cybercrimes than regular crimes happening more and more every day. So please make sure to go check it out. I recommend it. It's one of the top rated, but not only that, it's one of the easiest. All you do is download it, and then once it's downloaded, you just press on and off like a light switch. It literally has a toggle, and then that will put your IP address somewhere else, again, and hide your real address and the links to it. And not only that, it will stop from data logging and all sorts of bad things that they can do. It's one step that everybody should take to protect their identity as well. So make sure to go check it out. marfooglenews.com/VPN. Every time somebody goes over, it ends up giving us a small commission, and it helps you and protects you as well. I think it's a win-win. All right. And then, man, now we have thousands of, okay. So first of all, thousands of ships, millions of troops. China is assembling a huge fleet for a war with Taiwan. So when I first...
And it's amazing who this is too, right? This is Forbes.
Yeah. And when I saw that headline, I said, what? Wait, what? And of course, when I first saw the headline, I was like, okay, whoa, what? How is this not bigger? But you'll see. So do you want to kind of explain a little bit of this?
Well, I mean, ultimately, this is the plan. I don't say it's the plan, but it's sort of the understanding, right? If China's going to take Taiwan or anything else, they're going to have a lot of resources to do it. And I think we know that they've been doing everything in their power to grow their resources, from massive numbers of ships to massive numbers of, pilots being trained to massive numbers of, just troops in general. I mean, their troop numbers are huge.
Now, again, and in just a little bit here, we'll talk about the DoD employee that we talked to as far as some of the things that he said. Some pretty trippy stuff was said. And I believe it was because of the sticker on the back of our car. I'll explain that in detail in a second. A couple people doubted what I said. I do have it on video. I'm wondering what we could put out without, because he is a nice guy. I don't want to get him in trouble, but at the same time, I was in my own car, so I believe that it was legit as far as, and he knew I was a journalist. I had my stuff recording in my car, and again, I think that there's certain things that we should choose to let out, and then certain things to not. But I'm absolutely sure of it after speaking with this gentleman as far as a conflict. And I was already relatively sure. Now I am 100% sure. And I'm not going to change my views because people think I'm a warmonger or this or that. I think it's been very clear. But to actually finally hear it from somebody who is in the position that they're in and basically speaks with the people they do, I mean, it's all but clear. With speaking with family that work with FEMA and with the military as well, there's just no doubt. And to hear some of the things from their perspective, the drills, the actual T cells that are just here in Washington. There was a bunch that was talked about, but again, I think that people really need to start getting prepared and stop caring if people don't try to. It's not your job to convince everybody around you that they need to start prepping. I think that people are they get worried about family, and then they push and push and push, but then their family ends up pushing back. It's only your duty to protect yourself and your own family. And if people want to talk crap and all this, I don't really care. At this point, I think it's just like the people that said in the beginning of the CV, the whole lab thing, right? Fast forward a year, everybody's coming back to it. It's just like the Walmart rumors that turned out to be true. It's just like all of these different things that were, of course, looked at like it was crazy. Later on, almost all of them end up being true. So at this point, we're way ahead. We know that there's going to be a huge conflict, and I believe every country is going to be involved. So people need to get ready, and if they don't, and if you disagree with me, you don't have to watch. You can keep skipping. But again, will you? No. You'll continue to watch, and you'll continue to hate and put all this stuff out. Why? Let's work together. I would like anybody to do that, to actually ask me in person why I think all this is going down, and I will show them. We've been right about a lot of stuff, and people say, oh, we have a good track record. We have a track record to the point where people are, stop patting yourself on the back. We have to let people know when we're right, because if a lot of our predictions are right, then people can trust us. I hope that people understand that it's pretty simple. Like I say, it's like a bad movie, and you can see where this bad movie is ending. The blonde is going to run up the stairs, and she's going to jump out the window, break her ankle, and she'll be a foot away from the car keys with the open door. It says to have any chance of conquering Taiwan, China might need to transport as many as 2 million troops across the rough 100 miles of Taiwan Strait and land them under fire at the island's 14 potential invasion beaches or 10 major ports. So what they did is they actually looked at the physical plan, or how they would do this physically, and they're showing it. It says that's a lot of people, far, far more than the People's Liberation Army Navy can haul in its 11 new amphibious ships to transport the bulk of the invasion force. Beijing almost certainly would have to take up to naval service thousands of civilian ships. Isn't it kind of funny that they rounded up 200 civilian, basically these huge cargo ships, and those are all lined up? Dex, did you think about that when you read that line?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They don't have the ships to do it, even though they have the largest army, the largest navy. But they do also have the largest army. It's something like 2.185 million compared to our 1.4 million.
So you're going to see how they would actually do this. It says, to that end, the Chinese Communist Party has created a legal and bureaucratic framework for taking over control of commercial shipping. Meanwhile, naval engineers have begun modifying key vessels to make them better assault ships. All of that is to say that the vast flotilla that would both be vehicles for China's assault on Taiwan and the biggest target of Taiwanese forces and their allies, it's taking shape right now. If the PLA invasion force was 1 million or more men, then we might expect an armada of thousands or even tens of thousands of ships to deliver them, augmented by thousands of planes and helicopters. An analyst with the Project 2049 Institute of Virginia. Like Dex and I were talking about this before the show, and like he said, this isn't taking over Cuba that you need 20,000 troops. This is taking over Taiwan. They do have a formidable force. Plus they have technology. Plus they have jets. Plus they have a lot of the stuff that they've bought and purchased from us. They have defenses.
And allies, or supposed to be. And
allies. But again, the Taiwan is for sure. They've set it in stone. China's not NK. China's not going to say we're taking Taiwan. And think about all the elites that are already kissing their butts and saying, I'm sorry, I said Taiwan wasn't yours. China owns media. China owns all of the movie companies that you see these John Cena's apologizing to. Why? Because they know that it's going to happen. The only way that we would avoid WW3, at least for that part, was if we just let them take Taiwan. And Taiwan's a major strategic resource. My uncle, who's incredibly smart, two master's degree, he's been following this whole thing. He believes that our country is going to split into two parts, that they're actually going to split. And again, you think, well, is there going to be a civil conflict? He actually thinks it might be bureaucratic, because if you do see them take Taiwan and we don't step in, there's going to be almost everybody, half of the people are going to say, why did you let that happen? People are going to disagree to the point where we're not going to be on the same ground with each other. Like that's a democracy. And if they take an entire democratic society down, then they can take any of them. There's way more at stake than just the microchip plant, which again, there's a shortage of, and most of them are made in Taiwan. Think about it. They manufacture all this stuff, but they'll also grab that key resource and be in charge of all of our electronics, or at least for a while, until we get our plants up. It says the plan's 8 modern Type 071 landing docks and 3 075 big deck assault ships together can haul around 25,000 troops, a drop in the bucket. To transport the balance of the invasion force, the Chinese Navy can take up to around 2,000 large commercial vessels crewed by around 650,000 mariners. It says the legal framework is a new one. On January 1st, 2017, China's National Defense Transportation Law went into effect. Among other things, the law mandated that all of China's basic infrastructure and related transportation platforms would henceforth be treated as military-civil fusion assets. Basically saying that they can snatch anything they want, anytime they want. It says at the CCP's discretion, they were now legally required to be designed, built, and managed to support future military operations in the event of a conflict. They would be pressed into wartime service. Now, they had to prepare accordingly in peacetime. So in 2017, they said everything has to be built to military standards. Why? Because they were already planning to use them for other purposes. On top of that, they were mass producing a Navy, and just in the last couple of years, they surpassed us by 100 ships. They are the largest Navy in the world. If people are still sleeping through this, then again, there's a lot of things to argue about. Who did the thing here? Who did this here? Who did that? Either way, the rich and elite are, as long as they have a seat at the table, as long as their family is safe, and as long as their bank accounts are safe, they don't care what happens to billions of people. It says engineers have already begun modifying certain vessels for their wartime roles. At least one heavy lift ship got a removable helicopter deck, transforming it into an ad hoc assault ship. Perhaps the most important modification is a heavy ramp by which military vessels or vehicles speedily can drive from a hold of a ferry or roll-on, roll-off ship into lighter range or a pier. The ramp is driven directly by 2 large hydraulic cylinders and 2 support arms. Connor Kennedy explained in a briefing for the Jamestown Foundation in Washington, D.C. When conducting launch and recovery, these are connected between the top of the hydraulic mounting assemblies on the inner ramp and the top of the freight deck threshold to provide strength and leverage required to deploy the ramp into the water and withstand sea action. They've already set up these things. They are preparing for a full-scale invasion. All of the things that they said, they keep their promises. Like I said, this isn't Kim Jong. This isn't NK. This is the largest manned force in the world. They have more soldiers. I think, Dex, can you look up the numbers of how many soldiers they have compared to India?
It's 2.1 for 2.185 million for China, 1.4 for India, 1.4 for America, 1.3 for North Korea, and 1
Wait
million
a second.
for Russia.
We have 1.4 million soldiers?
Yeah, the stat of the largest armies or military personnel for 2021, yeah. We're 1.4 million. They are 2.185.
I'm surprised.
Us versus China.
I remember a stat like where it was 750,000, but that was years ago. So we are now up to 1.4 million. And with the recruiting videos that we do have now, who knows how many of those are, And then, of course...
Yeah, India is about the same as us. They got just a little more, but not much more. But yeah, China's significantly larger.
Wow. What is Russia? Just curious. Is Russia on that list?
1 million.
Wow. So together, if they teamed up with Russia, they would have over 3 million men.
Well, add North Korea to it. It's 1.3. So yeah, that's those three right there: China, NK, and Russia. You've got a lot.
And then, of course, they can snatch any citizen, and they're also one of the largest countries with infrastructure. Unlike a lot of the India, they have a lot more infrastructure, I believe, than they do in India. As far as, people that are in healthy cities or are at least getting by. Because they can draft. They don't have to do a draft. They can say every one of you is going to fight. And if you don't, you die. They have one of the largest populations in the world. So we're looking at a massive, massive, massive fight if we go and do this. It's a whole different field now. More than 10,000 China-Russia soldiers to attend joint drill in Ningxia. It says that Chinese Defense Ministry spokesman Wei Qian said on Thursday that the exercise in China, it says the move comes as both countries face a deteriorating relationship with the U.S. Quote, the purpose of this exercise is to consolidate and develop a comprehensive strategic partnership of cooperation between China and Russia, Wu said during the regular press briefing in Beijing. It will also further demonstrate the determination and ability of both sides to combat terror forces and jointly maintain regional peace and security. It says China-Russian foreign ministers meet as countries stand back-to-back amid rise in U.S. tensions. Wu said that Chinese troops will come mostly from the Western Theater Command, China's largest military area, which oversees regions including a joint command center will be established, and exercises will focus on aircraft, artillery, and armored equipment. There will also be training to improve joint reconnaissance, early warnings, electronic and information attacks, and joint strikes. So we have a huge drill coming up, and they have a huge drill coming up. Any one of the drills could turn into real deal Holyfield. Remember that. They can actually do a drill. In fact, a lot of our previous conflicts have started with a drill, and of course, that gives them an excuse publicly to do something without causing a big fuss. So everything is a drill until it's not. And then President B warns cyber attacks could lead to a real shooting war. What do you think he's talking about? Well, most likely a complete blackout or an EMP. Says President JB on Tuesday warned that a significant cyber attack on the United States could lead to, quote, a real shooting war with a major power, comments that highlight that Washington sees as growing threats posed by Russia and China. Cybersecurity has risen to the top of the agenda for the administration after a series of high-profile attacks on entities such as network management company SolarWinds, the Colonial Pipeline Company, meat processing company JBS, and software firm Cascia hurt the U.S. far beyond the companies hacked. Some of the attacks affected fuel and food supplies in parts of the United States. It says, quote, I think it's more than likely that we're going to end up, if we end up in a war, a real shooting war with a major power. It's going to be as a consequence of a cyber breach of great consequence. Dex, do you see how he said that, by the way?
Yeah,
like not if. It says it's going to be as a consequence of a cyber breach of great consequence, and it's increasing exponentially the capabilities. That's like...
It's like a total setup there, right?
It's like it's basically he's putting exactly how the conflict starts. I like how he says it's going to. It's probably going to be. It's going to be as a consequence of this is a direct quote, of a cyber breach of great consequence, and it's increasing exponentially. The capabilities. Well, he can't even talk, but that.
Yeah, I was wondering how that plays in there, but yeah.
Yeah, because why did he say consequence twice, and then at the end, the capabilities. Sorry, I just sounded like Bush. The capabilities. Yeah. During a June 16th summit in Geneva between and Russian President Vladimir, Mr. B shared a list of critical infrastructure the U.S. considers off limits to nation-state actors. Shouldn't all of them be off limits? Where'd the echo come from? That was weird. All of them? Weird. Since then, senior members of the B administration's national security team have been in constant contact with the senior members of the Kremlin over cyber attacks. Look at this. It says, Mr. B also highlighted the threats posed by China, referring to President Xi as, quote, deadly earnest about becoming the most powerful military force in the world, as well as the largest and most prominent economy in the world by the mid-40s. The 2040s. That's a direct quote. During his speech, Bio thanked members of U.S. intelligence agencies, emphasized his confidence in the work they do, and said he will not exert political pressure on them. The Office of Director of National Intelligence oversees 17 U.S. intelligence organizations. B's comments offered a clear departure from remarks made by his predecessor, DT, who had a contentious relationship with intelligence agencies over issues such as the assessment that Russia had interfered to help T-Man win the 2016 and its role in revealing the T-Man pressured Ukraine to investigate Mr. B. T-Man, of course, went through 4 permanent or acting directors of national intelligence during his 4 years in office, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. Dex, as far as this goes, you know, a lot of people think that he's on the payroll, right? So would it matter though? Because if this really does go down, wouldn't this help both countries? Some say, somebody commented the other day, said the best way to get out of a depression is war. Is it not?
Well, it certainly is for those who invest in it, right?
And guess who has stock in all of these things? Oh yeah. All the people making laws and all these things. Why are they all invested into wartime companies? Figure that one out. Seems to me like it's pretty simple. The military-industrial complex. Rare sight of 2 supercarriers docked in San Diego with their decks packed with aircraft. The Abraham Lincoln and the Carl Vinson are readying to deploy and are docked at North Island with their air wings embarked. So they're moving equipment everywhere. So I guarantee, I would love for somebody to prove that it's wrong, that they are moving military equipment everywhere. Even just the other day, somebody ended up tweeting us a video. We should have got the name of that person. Denver, Colorado. What was crazy, separately, this DoD employee actually mentioned about 6 different places that they're moving and included the UN. So I do believe that. And I don't think anybody, I think that it's soon going to be provable that UN is actually here helping us move equipment around. Because I don't say, somebody said, when I said that it was definite that WW3, somebody says, wow, that's a bold statement, and that's something. I don't make those. In 3 years that you guys have been watching me, I don't make a bold statement like that. I don't say this is definite. I'm always careful about that. I am definitely 100% absolutely sure within that 2 years, and I do believe exactly that lines up exactly with everything that we've ever done, that within 2 years we'll be at a full scale conflict with China, at least China. I won't say the other actors because I don't know who the other actors will be, but we will be at some sort of conflict. And in 2 years, if we can go back to this episode and say, you said this and it didn't come true, I'll be as happy as it can be. And I will gladly say I was wrong. It says Carl Vinson and the USS Abraham Lincoln are both currently docked at Naval Air Station North Island, which sits right across the bay from downtown San Diego. Well, it's not rare to see the 2 or even 3 supercarriers in port of North Island. What is rare is seeing 2 of these massive warships sitting side by side with their entire air wings embarked. The terrestrial photos came to us courtesy of our friends of Warship Cam and CGR 1321. Most of the time during training, aircraft will fly out of the carriers in smaller groups, then fly back to land once the training is completed. But then when the carriers spin up, prior to deployment, the entire air wing will be embarked aboard the vessel for an extended period of time. This is necessary to complete advanced integrated training, not only with the air wing, which has member squadrons scattered across the country, but also for the entire carrier strike group. Including the carrier's numerous escorts, it is getting all of the pieces to work as a single team, what gives the American Carrier Strike Group capabilities that are far more than some of their individual parts. This advanced integrated training includes more extreme threat scenarios that aim to tax the strike group's abilities and prepare them for what may come as they sail into unfriendly waters on deployment. So let me go over to the chat real quick. I want to ask people, how many of you know someone who's being deployed or all of a sudden or unexpectedly or unusually was deployed just recently? Mark Matheny, hey, how are you doing? Not your fault. The planes are not normally on deck in port. Brass Monkey, what's going on? Brett Hines says, so ask yourself why this is made public. This is deterrence. Deterrence from what, though? Jamada, and here's another thing. Somebody said, when I said that it's war, and then I talked to this person, they said loose lips sink ships. If we're going to do something, don't tell. So I guarantee you that I didn't just alert China that we were going to go to conflict. In fact, I know because they're going to be the aggressors. They're going to be the first ones to strike. So they've
told us.
They've
said it. They said they're taking Taiwan. It's not when. I mean, it's not if. It's when. It's going to happen. They've said it. They live. They breathe it. They say it's happening. Period.
So not only that, they said So they said that, and I replied back. 4 years. I put multiple links. They have said prepare for war. They have told their people to say their goodbyes. This is not NK. This is China. This is Xi Jinping, which is going to be the president for the rest of his life. He's not going to sit there and have his people think that he's some, half-asser or that he's going to not keep his promises. He's going to keep every last one of his promises. He's lining up every single thing in there. He has made the largest navy. He has made, which is now going to be, very soon, you're going to see they're going to have the largest air force. How? Oh, well, we're dealing with the largest manufacturer in the world. The country that has literally revolutionized manufacturing on a mass scale. That's who we're fighting. Not only that, they're not some stupid backwards country. They have some of the smartest people in the world. If you didn't notice, the Chinese culture is incredibly, incredibly dedicated to education. So don't underestimate your enemies. Yes, the U.S. military is badass, and we've got some of the best technology in the world. But think about what, with all of the world's money, if you saw the stats, if you saw with what in the year 2000, what the world was trading, the U.S. was selling stuff to all of the world. Now that is completely flipped. That same map is all red, except for Canada and the USA and Mexico. All of that is blue still. All of the rest is red. And by red, meaning all of those countries do greater trade with China than they do with the US. What else that means is that's money. That's a ton of money. And whoever has a ton of money can have a ton of big bad toys. And people think that they don't have the technology. If you have the technology to hack somebody, then you can get the technology that they have. We already know they stole our jets design. We saw our jets on their airfields, and it's exact. They don't even try to hide it. Building ships with pig iron. Marf is educating to us, connecting dots, pieces put together, because USA government wants us to think all quiet on the home front. It is not. Per UN troops are mostly China troops. Let's see here. They can't take Taiwan this year. A trade loss would be stupendous. Brett, one thing that I would disagree with you on that is that people are considering that they wouldn't be money. Somebody said, China has invested all this money into U.S. buildings and things. So why would they destroy it? If you destroy it and take over a country, you're going to have a whole lot more money in the long run than if you destroy your smaller investments. If you run the entire country and they're under your rule, if all of us end up being under China's rule, who cares about the small investment? You're going for the gold. You don't care about the change. You don't care about the spare change. I know that I'm going to get a lot of disagreements in the next however long it takes for this to happen, but I'm not even questioning anything else now. That's how sure I am that we are going to go to conflict. Ricky R. Guy, Blowtorch Barbie, James Clark, what's going on? They already got away with biomorpher and nobody even acknowledged it. James Clark, ding, ding, ding. Jay Hino, if you destroy it, they will get soft. Much less ourselves who destroy. And you know that some people will react negatively to saying that we are going to go to war, because I think partly it's because it's the fear that sets in and then it turns to anger. People want to be angry at you because you're saying something they don't want to happen and that they just don't want to hear. Miss Jackson, thank you so much. Storm Marfblade X69, thank you for the Nijigini. Welcome back, Marf. Much love, Adam, Mod, and Foogs. Stormblade. We've got Grego too. I agree with you, Adam. Thank you so much. Again, I would say do look for yourself. Miss Jackson says, Carl Vinson is my brother's old boat. Let's see here. Defrustrated. We've been in WW3 for a while now. Now too many sleeping. Yep, everybody's going to hit snooze. Let me just make sure that I get everybody over here. I just saw somebody made a comment. Conquest Josh says, I've got footage of the road. They will be conducting the Air Force landing exercise. Oh, we didn't even cover that. Dex, can you get me the link for that? It's on my Twitter if you need to find it, of the drills using our highways.
Okay.
It says, I've got footage of the road. They will be conducting the Air Force landing exercise. I live right next to it. Going to try to get more footage for y'all. Conquest Josh, I hope you can get at least a good cell phone video of it. Maybe if they let you set up close enough to actually get quality footage or 4K or something. Vinny Vengeance, I saw an interview that ties the Jabber Dabber with the new map that you will see in your lifetime. Vinny, next show would be one where we announce the phone number. Josh Shepard, hey, whatever, coming to the Rusky sub. Candy Hooten says, Marf, I have info on a 2-year conflict timeline. Candy, can you please email me specifically with the subject 2-year timeline? Put that in the subject. 2-year timeline. Canadian Freak, thank you again. Sunlight Suckers, again, you should call in again on our next call-in. And then, let's see here, that who said that they had information on it? Candy, and then Conquest Josh. Make sure to, I think you have a good channel, so if you have a good camera, get footage of it. I would love to put it on the show and we'll send everybody over. Second attempt to test the Air Force's first hypersonic weapon fails. The missile's rocket booster failed to ignite after separating from the B-52 carrying it, but the Air Force says it still gained a valuable set of test data. It says a second attempt to carry out a flight test of a prototype, the U.S. Air Force's AGM-183 air-launched rapid response weapon, hypersonic missile, or ARROW, has failed. The weapon separated safely from the B-52 carrying it, but the rocket motor did not ignite. This follows as the first unsuccessful attempted flight test in April. The missile did not even leave the wing of the B-52 it was attached to. That's 2 failed tests. Meanwhile, the other guys that are so backwards and so behind, and just that our military is so badass, in this particular field, in hypersonic, every military I've said is saying that it is a close race, that everybody is right neck and neck, and they're now just discovering all of this stuff. I think it's been out for years beyond that, and I think the U.S. has stuff that nobody even knows about. But as far as this public stuff, maybe this is so they can throw people off. I don't know. It says the Air Force announced the outcome of the test, which occurred on July 28th over the Point Magu Sea Range in the Pacific Ocean. Maybe this is a game of chess, and they're trying to pretend like they don't have it. So when it does come out,
that'd be interesting.
You know,
but if you're the company's name on the front of that, LM, right? You don't want that kind of publicity. No, but I guess you could sacrifice it for the big contracts.
Yeah, no, you don't. Yeah, especially if it doesn't affect your money, and then later on you can let them know that. Or if you're only doing contracts for the government, then who cares, right? So if for those that don't think that anything is going to happen here and that it's all just, some theory, right? I hope people are waking up. Look at this. A-10 Warthogs. Now, if you know anything about the military, A-10 Warthogs, they support, and they are absolutely, absolutely crucial for the frontline soldiers. Frontline, down on the ground. If you were in Iraq or in Afghanistan or anywhere else, you know the sound of an A-10 Warthog. A-10s come in and they support the men right on the ground. Say if there's guys on the other side of a wall from you or 100 feet away and you're pinned down, the A-10 Warthog comes to save you. The A-10 Warthog has a very specific sound. When you hear that, it's scary. In fact, part of the sound, why they, part of that whole thing is that it is terrifying to hear this thing. You hear it before it hits. Anybody in the military or that was in the Marines, if an A-10, if you saw personal action with the A-10, make sure to tell people exactly how it is. Are about to operate from U.S. highways for the first time. Why would they be drilling A-10 Warthogs landing and taking off on U.S. highways unless that's a possible scenario? They drill for the probable, not so much the possible. There's a million things that are possible. They drill for the probable. That means, again, somebody asked how, they said, I'm still lost. These A-10 Warthogs with 50 cals on the front, it's a whole different ballgame when you're taking off from an airport or landing on an airport. They're training them to take off from a highway with power lines, with obstacles, with towers, with cell towers, with everything else. They're training them right now how to take off and land in the United States. Why would they do that? Unless maybe the U.S. highways ended up turning into wartime airports or airstrips. Anybody getting it now? They're drilling in the dark. They're drilling at night with night vision. They're drilling with no GPS. These are the probable scenarios. They know that, in fact, now the EMP task force knows that they will most likely knock our lights out, knock our satellites down, and then invade. There's at least 3 different points where they would come in. and now they're drilling on U.S. highways. And they use the real place. So, wake up, people. Oh, on top of that, CV and everything else that's going on. Think about it. Do you think that just popped out of nowhere? Pentagon confirms work on precognition tech enabling, and by the way, even if it is some big thing where it's some evil people that are in charge and they're all trying to do this stuff, it's still going to look the same to the public, to the sheeple. So, and those people will still be in their castles or their submarines or their super yachts enjoying their Mai Tais. Pentagon confirms work on precognition tech, enabling it to see days in advance. The artificial intelligence-assisted cloud network is supposed to help the U.S. military planners get the jump on enemies and accurately predict what they plan to do before they do it. U.S. Northern Command, or U.S. Northcom, the Pentagon unit responsible for the defense of North America, has joined forces with its sister commands to carry out a series of AI-assisted experiments in precognition, or the ability to see events in the future before they happen. Has anybody seen the movie Terminator 2? Skynet. This is some Skynet stuff. In a press briefing last week on Global Information Dominance Experiments, or GIDE, the term used by military to refer to the test, U.S. Northcom Chief General Glenn Van Herk indicated that commands collaborated in the use of a cloud-based capabilities that are available right now, which could absolutely be fielded tomorrow to allow planners to get the jump on adversaries' actions. Why do they need this right now? The ability to see days in advance creates the decision space. Van Herk explained, saying that such decision space not only allows the U.S. to posture forces for deterrence, but it also takes proactive steps to prevent potential threat from materializing in the first place, i.e. potentially carry out preemptive strikes, for example. It says the technology reportedly depends on things like the near real-time analysis of satellite images by AI, with computers touted for their ability to process information more quickly than human analysts do and quickly provide it to both military and civilian decision makers. It says the machine can take a look and tell you exactly how many cars are in a parking lot, or how many airplanes are parked on a ramp, or if a submarine's getting ready to leave, or if a missile's going to launch, where that may have taken days before or hours today. It can take seconds or less than minutes, Van Herk said. Dex, this is something like out of a movie.
Yeah, and it's not even time travel. It's just using AI. So this is pretty yeah, and this is not new. Like, this technology's been around. We're just being told how they're planning on using it, right? They're putting this in the public. And I will tell you, it's been around because even marketers have been using this technology to predict that, what you're going to do next, right? What you're going to buy next based on everything that you've done and all this other information, right? AI has already been doing this for years.
Well, now
the other...
What? No, go ahead.
I was going to say there's another good paragraph right at the end of this. It's the second to last paragraph. Starts with both China and Russia are known to be working on systems. Read that one.
Both China and Russia are known to be working on systems designed to quickly blind U.S. intelligence gathering capabilities in wartime. This includes the use of super electromagnetic pulse weapons, space-based anti-satellite capabilities, and in Russia's case, the use of Maskirovka, or the doctrine of military deception, to disguise military operations and confuse enemies using a range of tools. The doctrine was first created during World War II and has been updated repeatedly since to account for new technologies and threats, like the fake tanks and the blow-up tanks that we just showed you that they have been mass producing. Dex, again, with the fake tanks, and by the way, if you missed that episode, we covered that they have discovered that Russia has been mass producing these fake tanks and fake Air Force planes and fake everything. These are full-on blow-up inflatable planes, inflatable tanks, inflatable everything. But the difference is not only do they look real from satellite, they also have the same kind of signal. Somehow they emit a signal that would tell sensors that that is a real tank. I don't know how they do it, but apparently that is something as well that these inflatables do. So they're not just an inflatable thing to look like it. They actually can pass sensors and radar as well. So they know we have this, and now that's their response. They're going to have these decoys, and they're going to try to trick the AI. But it's pretty simple to see. They're both planning on a direct war very soon. They're literally doing the last steps, and nobody sees it. Or people are so... Ask yourself this. If you're offended by me saying that we're about to go to war, why? Is it freaking you out? Is that why you're pissed off? Really think about it and analyze it. Maybe you might come back and go, sorry. It really freaked me out, and I don't know why I got so angry. Why do people get angry? If I'm wrong, then go ahead and go do your thing. But I think it's because something inside you knows I'm right. There's too much going on right now to deny. And if you see everything that's happening right now and think, oh, nothing's up, then you are, I don't even know what to say. I don't want to say something negative. Snoring. Triple Z. Chipmunks with plague prompt closure of some areas of South Lake Tahoe. What? Officials are closing some areas on the south shore of Lake Tahoe after some chipmunks tested positive for plague. This is really crazy. In fact, I think we have a picture of them. This is really quite crazy. Let's see here. Oh, I do have a. Yeah, it's actually quite disgusting. If you are sensitive to, gross things, then make sure to look away. These are the chipmunks. Again, not for the faint of. Again, it says that during that time, the National Forest Service will be conducting vector control treatments to those areas. El Dorado County spokesman Carla Haas said that the chipmunks were tested, had no contact with any people. It says people hiking and doing other outdoor activities should avoid contact with animals. They should do the same for their pets. Plague is an infectious bacterial disease that tends to be spread by chipmunks or other wild rodents and their fleas. For humans, symptoms can show up within 2 weeks of exposure to an infected animal. They include fever, nausea, weakness, or swollen lymph nodes. Not to make every last viewer panic. Again, not trying to be a knock on your door and be WebMD or anything. Because, yeah, your lymph nodes can swell for other things, too. It's not necessarily the plague. If caught early, it can be treated with antibiotics. So, soon they'll be saying we have zombie chipmunks. Australia deploys helicopters and soldiers to order people to go home in one strictest lockdowns. It says that Aussie politicians have deployed the army and helicopters to order people to go home in what is called the world's strictest lockdowns. One man caught a chopper shouting out stay-at-home orders from a loudspeaker and shared it online. It says one man watched in disbelief as a police chopper told him to evacuate the park he was strolling. Yeah. Picture of a helicopter ordering people to go home. In footage, a blue and white helicopter circles the Aussie who blurts out, "What the F?" as he's warned that local police would find him and issue a fine. Australia is enforcing one of the most severe laws in the world and recently called in the military to help enforce its zero CV strategy. So I just wonder, I mean, is stuff getting even more serious? Is this some sort of other thing? Is this a T attack? Do we know if this was created by something else? Or,
one thing I do know is a lot of people say, pay attention to what happens in Australia and Canada before it happens here.
Because guess what? They're allied. They're very close in a lot of things, including even media. And guess what? This could be a test. Because France, that didn't go too well, did it? But they're still doing it. Oh, isn't this so funny? Isn't this exactly... sorry. Billionaires segregate themselves on luxury private islands as ordinary people told they can't travel. News that billionaire co-founder Larry Page has been hiding out on and buying isolated private islands in Fiji to avoid tourists who aren't allowed in once again underscores how the elite is using the fallout from the to segregate themselves from the general public. Is anybody like waking up? The elites are buying private islands and staying out on their stuff while all of this stuff goes down. So there's helicopters telling you to go home. Meanwhile, nobody's circling their house. Page has been living off-grid for over a year and forced a state-owned news website to remove an article about his activities that was also delisted by in an apparent effort to conceal his location. How do you... I mean, wow. So he was able to tell... I mean, how can you even do that? Should that be legal? Like, remove your own stuff on there? He has spent months in Fiji during the pandemic, mostly on the island of... I don't want to say. They'll be like, oh, just get rid of him. And I'm not talking about my show. I'll kill you. Right? And has been rumored the billionaire has bought at least one island in the country's somewhere. I'm sure he's filtering out anybody who says that island's name. Page has also been spotted on a smaller island called, I don't know. I'm not going there. Which a sailor named Lorenzo Cipriani claimed Page bought in a blog post in August. Page, who has a net worth of $170 billion, making him the sixth wealthiest person in the world, was able to take advantage of Fiji's Blue Lane program, which was able to take advantage of that and super wealthy visit the archipelago on their super yachts and private jets, even when other travelers were banned. So they have a Blue Lane for the rich people.
Yeah, they do talk about Jeff, too. Jeff Bezos, so you don't want to keep talking about him, but apparently he's investing in land. They're all investing in land, and they've always done this. And we've talked about the yachts, we've talked about the islands, we've talked about the crazy things that they invest in. These rich elites to do and get away from and protect themselves and be off-grid and, you know, not have to, I guess, live like the rest of us.
It's pretty incredible. Well, obviously, there's a lot to unpack with everybody buying these islands, buying these subs, buying everything else. Silly Gurgle says, have you looked into the McAfee Countdown website? We'll probably talk about that. On the next show. So to talk more about, I think that we should release the Cascadia stuff all in one video. But as far as the waves... 150-foot waves. 150-foot waves with Cascadia. And I believe no one can prove me wrong on that. They could Google and say, oh, there's nothing about it. Exactly. I believe that I will be the first to say that. Cynthia Lynn, glad to see the Foogle fam back up and running. Missed the Foogle fam last week. Stay safe and prep. We are family. Thank you, Cynthia Lynn. Thank you for supporting the Foogle fam. Thank you for supporting me. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Cynthia Lynn, you have gone above and beyond multiple times, so thank you. I cannot say enough thank yous to you. Defrustrated, again, thank you. Jenny from Texas and Nexus Rift, thank you for following. And everybody else that just followed right now, Haley Lou, Safa, Dan Wilson. That's funny. We have a Dan Wilson, which I think is the same name as and Ken Griffey fan. Thank you. Ken Griffey fan. How old are you? Again, crazy. Go over to the main chat. Amen wide. Joseph, preparation. Yeah, that's right. It's 8.2 Alaska earthquake. Deuces. Cascadia has happened in the past. Predicts future. Futanya 5. So there was a lot of stuff that I went through and we got footage of as far as what was going on in Cascadia. I actually went to the place, which I have not done yet before, where you could see the actual limestone, you could see the mud, you could see the lines of where it happened in the previous past. It was really, it doesn't sound crazy interesting until you see it in person and you see the land and you see everything before that happened. Then you see this just line where everything was wiped out, everything was destroyed, and then you see rocks. It's like nothing before. Everything was destroyed. Everything was pulverized. And you can see in these lines underground, because this is on the coastline, and you see where Cascadia subduction zone destroyed everything in its path. And when you are there in person, it's almost like you can feel the history of this. This happened 300 years ago. In fact, 321 years ago. And it happens on average every 240 years. The waves, according to the military, in certain spots like Pacific Beach are going to be 150 feet high. The base there was their evacuation point for Pacific Beach, Washington. It is no longer the evacuation point. Why? Well, they're on a 120-foot cliff above the rest of town, so you'd think that would be the smart place to go. Well, apparently, because of the shallow shelf, that the wave is actually, it's shallow and it goes so far out that it actually has this slight shelf. It goes out, and then it has this huge drop. So when the wave comes in at 500 miles per hour, it's going to hit that, and it's going to double or triple in size, upwards of 150 feet. So even if you're 120 feet up at the top of this cliff, you will not be safe. The whole reason I went there is because I saw what I thought was an evacuation tower. It was not an evacuation tower. In fact, it was the site of a future emitter. An emitter is, I believe, and Dex, could you look up an emitter? I believe it looks like the golf ball. I'm pretty sure if you look up a military emitter, and we'll show a picture of what that looks like, or at least the tower. I saw that tower, and it looks exactly like an evacuation tower, and I said, wow, they actually have an evacuation tower at the top of town. But I was also thinking, this is on a huge cliff. Why would they need an evacuation tower this high? Turns out it wasn't even an evacuation tower in the first place, because guess what? They said that place is on sandstone or limestone, and it's just all going to collapse and go into the sea. So they decided it's not going to be. They said that the Department of Ecology and these specialists came by and did core samples and said that this isn't a safe area to go. Not only that, they believed it was so serious that they recently added seismometer equipment, which he pointed to, that the UW, which is in charge of all this, is monitoring 24/7. This is a place where all of, again, I shouldn't even say the rest of it, but it's where they send high-ranking officers and things like that. It is public, but again, Not going to go into specifics. And the whole reason I know is I was taking photos and videos, and I was told to stop. I was told to put my camera down or delete the photos, and I said BS, and I went First Amendment, and I said, this is public. Where is this ground? What am I standing on right now? And then he pointed me to the sign. There was actually a specific sign that says, like, this cannot, basically it would be putting certain, if you got that exact location, there were high-ranking officers and things like that. One of the points, though, is there are a lot of things that as we go on, we're going to be telling you some things. And again, I hope that people at least put it in their back of the head. I think everybody should take everything with a grain of salt. But I do not think it is a negative thing to tell people to prepare, to have extra water, to have extra food, to have, honestly, I would say have 4 plans to get to your family. It's going to take a while. It might even take you a weekend of just straight up work, but it's not as long as you think. Plan out strategies. If your kids are at school when something happens, and that could be a Cascadia subduction zone earthquake, or that could be a full-scale invasion. Or it could be a tornado, or it could be an earthquake. You need to have 4 solid plans, a plan, a backup plan. If this road is out or whatever, think about the different things that apply to these situations. Think about if you live in a town where there's only 2 roads places. Well, both those roads are probably going to be down. Do you know how to get somewhere via the power lines or via a creek or, via the water? Think about these things. If you're on the coastlines, on both of them, how can you get inland, or how can you go to high ground, or how would you get there? Ocean Shores, Westport, those are dead towns. They have them in the assumed deaths. And now I believe that the 15,000 people that they say will die when the Cascadia subduction 9.0 earthquake hits, I think that is because they are only counting the people that are residents, the people that live there. There's only 5,000 residents, but at any given point on a popular summer, upwards of 500,000 people can be in that little town that only has 1 road in and 1 road out. 2-lane road that literally goes in, and even if 2 lanes, both of them were dedicated to people leaving after a 9.0 earthquake, 500,000 people leaving will instantly jam it up. 500,000 people don't go on a normal day with horrible traffic in Seattle. I can only imagine if it's 2 lanes and 1 car breaks down, everybody is dead. It is one of the craziest things to me that we have not done an inch of preparation for that place. Ocean Shores is dead. It's going to be not only it's at sea level, it's going to be 55 feet underwater as per their old suggestion. Now it's going to be 150 feet. So if you can think 150 feet up, all water. The highest point in town is about 40 feet, and it's a cell phone tower. It's not even a building. It's actually not even a cell phone tower. It's like a red TV antenna or something. And there's hotels everywhere. The tallest hotel has a ground floor that can open both doors so the tsunami can go right through. But it's still not even tall enough. It's only 3 stories high. So that means all of those people are dead. We have a future disaster that's going to happen, and nobody will care until it does. So I hope that anybody that lives in Washington, California, or Oregon, I hope that you prepare, and I hope you prepare now. Because they expect it to happen. They have technology that they're not telling us about. And they know it's going to happen. It's going to trump anything that has ever happened in the United States of America ever before. Storm Marf Blade X69, few more days and I can fix my name. That is awesome. I know how they do that. Missed you guys. Again, thank you, Storm Marf Blade. And then Copper Tropicals, thank you. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate that. From creator to creator, make sure to go check out Copper Tropicals. Covers earthquakes. Dex, can you tell us about some of the Too Hot for TV
Yeah, absolutely, Adam. So if you head over to marfugglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for the show, and scroll down to the section called Web Only Content, you will find everything else that we can't talk about. Some interesting things going on there. Typically, you'll see some politic type stories there. There's some things happening down in Texas under the bridges. It's really interesting. One of our people in Congress is asking for an end to the moratorium, while someone else, a group, is actually trying to serve an eviction notice on that person. Even though I think it's more of a demonstration. But lots of interesting things going on there. Go take a look. The rest of the story that you don't always get to hear here, including some stuff that's going on with those V's. All right, marfugglenews.com. Look for the thumbnail for the show. Scroll down to web only content.
Now, again, 30 to 40 million people are going to be evicted. That's like the low estimate. We're going to see just all sorts of crazy stuff going on. And now, of course, all of the stuff that's going on in Sydney, all of the stuff that's going on in France, all of that's all coming around. So stay tuned. There's a lot more. As far as the conflict, I believe that we will have proof within 6 months to show you what is about to happen. So get your stuff. And again, this isn't something that you need to panic about. I believe you'll have at least some warning. And again, the one thing that I don't know if we'll have warning of is if the lights go out. So always have stuff for as if you were going to lose power. It's just smart to do, whether it be a tornado, whether it be an earthquake. Almost every place has some sort of earthquake risk. So look at it as a normal thing. And in fact, that is a good way to get family into it. Use a regular disaster and say, I'm really serious about this. Can we do this? If you make the plans happen, then it will happen. You may have to actually do the work for your family too. If you're the patriarch or the matriarch of your family, that's your position. And even if they laugh at you, put together a binder. Have your plan. Know, like, if they're at school or if they're at work, how are you going to get home? If there's no cell phones, all the cell phones are gone because, well, either the satellites are down or everybody's on them, so you cannot call. Where do they automatically go? They need to know the same plan you do. Where do you meet up? You guys all see the meetup place and you know it's not obtainable. You have a backup place. Remember those plans. Get together with your family. Prepare for any kind of disaster now. Dex, thank you so much for all of your work on the show today.
Absolutely, man.
Appreciate
show,
you guys.
brother.
We'll have a call-in show tomorrow, so make sure to join us. 224-400-MARF is the number. If you're here tomorrow, you'll hear the callers. Candy, whoever said that they have information on the 2-year timeline, send an email to adam@marfugglenews.com with the subject 2-year timeline. I will only accept emails from that person with that subject. Don't put that subject in to try to get my attention because I'm trying to get that information. All right, have a good night, guys. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out.
I said Jesus is working through me. 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 Jesus is working through me. I said Jesus is working through me. see the flip coming up back down. On down, they never back down. Now the people are getting wise. They look up, down, and up in the skies. They see all the planes and them lines. They know that it's all a bunch of lies. Special thank you to Canadian Freak, Candy Hooten, Josh Shepard, Vinny Vengeance, Conquest Josh, Raven Ranch, Gone Girl 777. Of course, Amy R, Amber B, Subaru WRX, Susan Donahue, Sunlight Suckers, and Silly Gurgle. That video of the work, the landing on the highway, walk from 2-9. I almost did the story on that, found the original video of a grid hot desert on the farming, on the ballin' on Adrian. Next day, everybody getting born. I bring back with the cat they ran there. I did Vedego then and everybody on it. I done observe and I looked a bit acres on the big cars on the bring it. George Bobby and the Karen from Columbus. Hey, George Robson and the bonus. Gonna bring down now, get a bonus. Juice give 420 and the malicious. Hey, Miss Jama 1 and the edgy well on.